That's what the New York Giants think every time there's a possibility to win. This is Tim, this New York Giants Straight Talk, powered by Online Big Blue LLC. Want to talk about how the Giants rather be relevant than good. Want to talk about how when you have a head coach and a general manager that are on the hot seat in March, things just don't go right. We've been talking about this now for, a couple weeks. And it seems like the media in New York is finally starting to catch on. The national media is starting to catch on that when your owner tells you, we're going to give you another year, but I better be happy. You're sending mixed signals. When you make the moves that the Giants made in free agency, you're sending mixed signals. When you go out and pick up a free agent quarterback in Jameis Winston, you're sending mixed signals. Now, if the Winston signing would not be a bad signing if you knew for a fact that you could grab a quarterback at 3. But literally, you're bringing in a guy that is kind of, we want to say, unique at best. He's been in the league for, going on, 10 years now? He was the number 1 overall pick to, we've seen before, to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And he already had issues when he was that pick. There was the incident when he got caught stealing the crab legs at the grocery store just before the draft. And I love it because not only did he steal the crab legs, he went back for tartar sauce? And it's not even a joke. He literally did that. There was also the incident of potential sexual assault at Florida State that was kind of covered up and kind of brushed under the rug, and they paid the alleged victim off. There was the time at Florida State where he stood up in the student union and started screaming obscenities. We all just kind of forgot about that. Then he comes into the league, comes in with all the pomp and the circumstance. Tampa has him at their quarterback position for 5 years. 2019, they got a chance to go 8-8, potentially make the playoffs. And what does he do? He throws up a clunker in overtime, throws a pick 6 for a touchdown, and Tampa loses any chance. Bruce Arians has the understanding that, we need to get rid of this guy because we need a quarterback, because we are a legitimate team. We are a quarterback away. So what do? They go out and get Tom Brady, and rest is history. They win a Super Bowl in 2020. And everyone's like, well, Tim, that was childish antics, were when he was at Florida State. Oh, so we wish there were. There was the Eat the W speech we talked about, that bizarre pregame speech, which some have repeatedly said is one of the most bizarre in NFL history, where he's pretending to eat W's with his fingers, which kind of left, if you took a look at that video, kind of left a lot of his teammates confused and befuddled. And then again, they go out and get blown up by the Buccaneers 30-10. And then you're like, well, Tim, that could happen. There was the 2016 Uber incident, the sexual misconduct allegation, where he was suspended for 3 games in 2018 by the NFL for allegedly groping an Uber driver. He later issues an apology, but doesn't admit to the act. He's just sorry. So then again, you think to yourself, okay, well, he was a youngster. Well, you go to 2021 when he was with the Saints, and for some unknown and bizarre reason, he was licking his fingers and rubbing the heads of teammates. Okay. Could someone literally explain that one to me? Then the fact that he lost his starting job in New Orleans to the Red Rifle, Andy Dalton. I mean, he was literally also told with the Saints that he wasn't going to lose his job due to injury, but he did. I mean, this guy is just, there's immaturity is a good word for it. But when you're licking your fingers and rubbing your teammates' heads and getting some of the weirdest reactions I've ever seen in a video in reference to the sideline, and it was only in 2021, it gets strange. It gets bizarre. You take a look at the big arm. You try to take a look at his issues that, that maybe he's 31 years old. He's not growing out of this. But here's the problem with some of the things he never grew out of, which was making the same mistakes at 31 that he makes at 30. It made at 21. Spoke to someone that who still works in Tampa, still works for the Buccaneers, was there for the Jameis Winston era. And I love it because we read these emails during they were text messages during the live stream. And I love it because I asked him, he says, first thing he told me was Winston, talented quarterback. And then he goes, but there's several flaws and issues that are still occurring. There's a turnover issue. Everyone remembers the 30 interceptions in 19. We also threw 33 touchdowns in that 7-9 season. Forces balls into coverage. Still has fumbling issues. This is from a guy that worked with the Winston in Tampa. I love it because he referred to him as an inconsistent decision maker, takes unnecessary risks instead of just taking the safer option. His pre-snap reads have regressed since he's been in the league, leading to misjudgment and coverage. Holds on to the ball way too long. Poor pocket. I love this one too. Poor pocket awareness and presence. He doesn't sense the pressure leading to unnecessary sacks. His footwork, evidently under pressure, has not gotten any better in 10 years. Leads to a lot of off-balance throws, which leads to these interceptions, which leads to then accuracy problems and ball placement problems and having inconsistency with throwing that intermediate to deep routes. This is from a guy that worked with Winston. Struggled at his time in Tampa with his anticipation of throws and sees nothing different in the last 4 or 5 years. Waits too long for the receiver to get open. Has a tendency to throw high. Imagine him throwing high on the sidelines to Malik Neighbors and getting Malik Neighbors wrecked. And I love it because he said the thing that bothers him the most was a regression in his processing speed. He said when he first got to Tampa, he showed promise, but has not developed almost at all as a processor in reference to the defense. This is what he wrote. Against disguised coverages, he locks onto a receiver, allowing defenders to read his throws. But don't worry, we're going to bring this guy in here because he's going to be fun. He's going to be exciting. There was the Benny Flowers statement in reference to that first year he was in with the Saints, and he was like, oh, everyone loved him. Well, everyone loved him because he wasn't starting. Drew Brees was. I've said this a million times before. The antics are great. You could be jocular, you could be jovial. But the problem is this. When you start piling up the interceptions, you saying that you're praying to the interception gods or whatever the hell he said is no longer going to be funny. When you're mired in a 7-game losing streak and the New York media is pressing you on things that are going wrong and you rather give humorous answers and also sit there, well, I need to do better. We need to know more than that. That's what we need to know. You cannot sit here and just be this guy of the moment. And that's the problem with the Giants. They are trying to be the moment. And why are they trying to be the moment? Because they've been so bad, and you now have an edict from your owner that you better win. Because if I'm not happy this time next year, you're all going to be fired. That's not a way to build the team. That is a way to turn a team around and turn a team into a situation where it just doesn't look good and doesn't get any better. You take a look at the players that we've signed. And I love it because James Williams, had the best response when he was like, he's like, I was looking at the guys they signed, and outside of like the first 2 guys, I don't know who any of these guys are. And I think that's kind of the dichotomy of the Giants. They went outside of Debo and Holland. They went out and signed day 4, 5, 6 free agents in day 1. They signed depth pieces when they don't have pieces in front of the depth pieces. You're still light at the corner position. Yeah, you got a Debo, but Debo wasn't in the top 10 in most NFL teams' thought processes in reference to getting a corner. Why? Because of the injury. Most people thought that he was going to get a 2-year, $20 million deal with most of that money coming up front. But here comes Joe Shane, smartest man in the room. I'm going to get you $54 million, 36 of that shit guaranteed. Holland, I think Holland was a great sign. And like I said, Debo to me is a great sign if he comes back to be what he was, but he doesn't actually fit in the Shane Bowen system, kind of like Tay Banks doesn't fit in the Shane Bowen system. Then you go out and get Holland. I think Holland was a great pickup, but he's also coming off an off year. So you're gonna have to hope that you could add Xavier McKinney. You could accept Xavier McKinney. You didn't even reach out to Xavier McKinney to make him a deal, but you'd rather sit there and you're gonna pay Holland instead. And then you go out and, like I said, you get a bunch of second teamers, backup players, special team guys that, I love it because it's always with the Giants. They're big potential guys. These are big potential signings. When have these big potential signings ever worked out? And I keep thinking about this. But you have a guy that needs to put together a roster and needs to put together a roster quickly because of the fact that if he doesn't, at the end of the day, he's going to be...
Excuse me. Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight?
He's dancing with the devil in the pale moonlight because of the fact that he needs to win. He needs to produce. There will be no 3-win season for Shane or Dable here. The edict has come down from Mount Mara. We've talked about this. The edict is down from Mount Mara. You shall win, or I'm not going to be happy. So you have a quarterback room potentially of Jameis Winston and Tommy DeVito, and maybe a Jackson Dart, a Kyle McCord, Jalen Milroe. Guys that if you even consider taking are going to be a couple years away, but you guys don't have a couple years. You sat there and waited, dick in hand, for Matthew Stafford. And if you would have actually read any of the media coming out of LA, just Google LA media or LA sports. You can read other papers. They always told you that he was just using the Giants as leverage, and he was always going back because he was just trying to get paid more money because he was undervalued at his current contract. But you were still willing to give him 2 years, $90 million and trade the farm for him. Why? Because you're trying to win now. You're sitting there and you're still waiting on Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is not moving the needle of the wins. Jameis Winston's not moving your win needle. You look at your schedule, you look at your division, but we're still sitting there, dick in hand, waiting for this guy to make a decision. You've been stringing along Russell Wilson. Why? Because you're looking for a quarterback to win. You're not building a team. Joe Shane first came here. We're gonna build through the draft and we're gonna augment through free agency. Well, when you go 7-2 the first half of that first season, and then go 2-5-1, all that shit goes out the window because then you think you're a contender, even though you look like you have one of the worst rosters in the NFL because the football bounces a different way every year. And during that 7-2 streak, I kept telling people, listen, we got lucky to get that win against the Titans. We technically got lucky to get the wins against the Bears and the Texans, and we got lucky to get the win in Jacksonville. This was not a good team. That was not a good team. But we had to hear the false hope and meandering that we were going to move forward and sally forward on and become a franchise of will. We willed ourselves into a 6-win season, then a 3-win season, then Jameis Winston at quarterback. I love when the people go to me, you're so negative. Well, fuck you. Show me something positive in the last 14 years besides 2 playoff appearances and 1 playoff win. Maybe people need to start being a little negative. Maybe people need to go out there and start showing a little passion that, hey, our team sucks for so long. We're the fucking Cleveland Browns and we're the Cincinnati Bengals. We're the 90s Cincinnati Bengals. Where's David Klinger and Akiwi Smith? Oh, no, we got Jameis Winston and Tommy DeVito. It's just sad. It really is. And you got a guy here that's going to be fun. He's going to be fun in the locker room. Hey, he's going to be awesome. But I always think of Crash Davis.
Your shower shoes have fungus on them. You'll never make it to the bigs with fungus on your shower shoes. Think classy, you'll be classy. If you win 20 in the show, you can let the fungus grow back on your shower shoes and the press will think you're colorful. Until you win 20 in the show, however, means you're a slob.
Jameis Winston has had 1 winning season in his starting career. I'm not going to go when he was not the full-time starter. In a 16-week season, he has had 1 winning season. He threw 2 terrible pick sixes versus Denver that cost him the game. He is a guy that is an accident waiting to happen, but he is the alleged NFL quarterback that may give you 6-7 wins. I don't see it. I had the Giant win total of maybe 4 or 5. With Jameis Winston, I might call it 2. Because he panics under pressure. He makes ill-advised decisions. And you're sitting there going to go, he's going to be the mentor. He's going to be the mentor to our new quarterback. Jameis Winston and Tommy DeVito are going to be your mentor? Really? Who's going to mentor him first? I love it that I can't remember who. It's not a stupid Giant Twitter post. It was a great Giant Twitter post. And I can't remember who said it, but they're like, the Giants should draft Travis Hunter. Because he could be on the end of Jameis Winston passes on offense, and he could potentially be on the end of Jameis Winston passes on defense. Oh. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I'm sitting here trying to figure out what this team is doing. Like I said, I look at the free agent signings, and I kind of just think to myself, outside of the top 2, have you really built anything in regards to a roster? Have you really have you? Have you really built anything? Have you really moved the needle on a win-loss total? Can you say you have? Because I don't see it. But I guess we're going to have to kind of just wait and see as this draft comes along. As the draft comes along, we have to hope that we get better. We got to hope that we do something, and we hope we don't take Jackson Dart at 3. Because if that happens, my brain might explode. This is Tim. Oh, this is New York Giants Straight Talk. Make sure you follow, make sure you like, make sure you follow the live streams, make sure you follow us on Twitter, X, or whatever the hell you want to call it. We're also streaming on Instagram now. And don't forget to like, don't subscribe, don't forget to ring that bell because you want to know why.